Connection's unstable.
It also says I'm live.
But you are.
Oh, I didn't know we hit 5 yet.
Well, let's know if you want.
Do you think that I'm that one person that's live?
I don't know. That's why it's hard.
That's actually saying it's going to reconnect. No, that one was not me. Because it now says 0. My phone is telling me what time it is. 1:57. I have one person back, although it could be, I have one person back. It's no longer saying it's unstable, Cindy. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rich Kogelschatz, and I'm with Heartland Builders. I hope everybody's doing well today. Thanks for coming out to, I guess you didn't come out. Thanks for joining me in this live chat show span session about, I don't even remember the exact name of it. It has something to do with cost per square foot, right? So we're going to talk about understanding cost per square foot today relative to new home construction. So, again, my name is Rich Kogelschatz. If you have something for me, if you want to chat with me, apparently there's a chat box down over here, at least it's down over here on my computer. Please type something in, and you can stop me from going on, and I will answer your questions, and I'll stop and answer them immediately. So please, hopefully this session can be as interactive as possible, and we'll see what that looks like. So again, my name is Rich Kogelschatz. I am with Heartland Builders. Heartland Builders has been in business for 23 years. I started it in the basement of my house, let's just say, and 23 years ago, and we are a custom builder. We are a scattered site custom builder, meaning we build all around West Michigan. We will build within a 1-hour radius of Grand Rapids, essentially. We do not own land. We do not build specs. We build on our clients' land using their money in any house that they want, right? So not every house is the same. And the difference between me and, say, Eastbrook Builders, me and JTB, or me and Tibby, Tibby Sable, they are production builders. They'll build 500 homes a year, 200 homes a year. I'm going to build 12 houses this year. So again, custom builder. The reason that I took this topic on, though, is that a lot of people call us up. Well, first, let me back up. Custom builder, site, all of those other types of things. I'm going to take you on a tour real quick because you're here and you're trapped. This is my office, right? And that's an office ceiling, and that's me walking, not on my ceiling, right? But I'm going to take you around my design center real quick, because I want you to know this is not a presentation about Heartland Builders, but in order to talk about what it is that we do, I have to talk about who it is that we are. So you are now in our design center, right? You see some hardware back over there. You see some tile. If I back up, that's tile over there, right? That's siding over there. That's a TV showing pretty pictures of our house. But if I back up inside here, granite countertops, cool countertop samples, all sorts of samples and things like that, right? This is our kind of our kitchen, design kitchen that we have. And then here's a whole bunch of cabinet sample displays and things like that, right? Different cabinets that you can choose from, right? But this is not a commercial about Heartland Builders. And so I'm not going to try to sell you on Heartland Builders. I'm going to talk to you about cost per square foot. But again, I wanted to show you what it is that we do and who it is that we are, here at Heartland Builders. All right. So again, a lot of people, going back to the seminar, is about cost per square foot and why that's not a legitimate number question to ask a builder necessarily. All right. So a lot of people call us up, and the very first question they ask us, right, is, hey, what's your average cost per square foot? And my response is, back when I was younger and kinder and gentler, I would try to come up with a smart answer to that question and give them some kind of range that, and all of that. But the reality is that it's not an easy. The question is easy. The answer is not as easy, right? And why isn't it as easy? Why is that not an easy answer? Because I'm a custom builder. I build a dozen homes a year. Every house is different. Some houses, not only is every house different, the piece of land that we're building on is different as well. Some of our driveways are 150 feet. Some of our driveways are 2,000 feet. Some of our houses and lots that we build on, land that we build on, I've got to clear $10,000 worth of trees. Some of the land that we build on, I don't have to clear any trees, right? So all of a sudden, when you start adding, we built houses before where the septic system is $5,000. We built houses before where the septic system is $20,000, right? So how do you get an average cost per square foot when there's so much range in the properties, that you're building on, right? And then not only that, the style of the house is completely different as well. So calling up a builder and going, hey, builder dude, what's your average cost per square foot? That's not an easy answer to give. And it's not an answer that's going to give you information in which you should judge builders, right? So I don't want people thinking that that's a legitimate number from an evaluation standpoint, okay? So now that I've said that, is it ever a time when you can evaluate a house, right? Is there ever a time that you can use cost per square foot? If you go into a builder subdivision and every house is 35 feet off the road, right? Every house has a concrete driveway. Every house pretty much looks the same except for the color, right? So there's plenty of production builders. You could go into one of their subdivisions and go, hey, what's the average cost of these houses? Because every one is pretty much the same except for the color. And maybe the garage isn't on the left, the garage is on the right. An average cost per square foot number in that situation, it might be fine to compare with that, right? But if you're talking to a custom builder, if you're just calling up and say, I want to have a house built, tell me your average cost per square foot, you're not going to do a lot more digging if you want to find an easy answer, if you want to find an answer that means something to you, okay? So again, as I mentioned before, down in somehow this is a live chat, so please go down and say something if you want, and I will be happy to answer any questions for you, okay, during this presentation, okay? So I mentioned to you that a lot of people will call us up and go, hey, what's your average cost per square foot, right? And so what we did, because again, no easy answer to that question, what we did is we put a flyer together. We have our tagline, easy, fun, and faster than you think. But on this side, it says fair and square, right? Hey, underneath it, it says understanding your square foot cost. Fair and square, understanding your square foot cost. So right here, calculating square foot building costs for custom on your lot homes includes site considerations and site improvement costs. See how these factors influence the cost per square foot of each one of your homes. So what we did, we compared 4 houses. Expensive house, less expensive house, right? To see what the average cost per square foot of these houses were and where the numbers really came in on our homes. Because as a builder, I want you to understand how much your house costs, number one, and number two, where the cost of your house is going to be at, right? So we're going to start with this brochure here start with this brochure. But I would tell you that the numbers, right? You see percentages down at the bottom there. The numbers are pretty much the same no matter which house it is, right? Numbers are pretty much the same no matter which house it is. We can take it, we can spin it up upside down, turn it upside down, raise it up and down, still pretty much the same, okay? So with that, your average cost per square foot, right? So what goes into determining the cost of a house? Your site evaluation, your personal selections, and your design considerations, right? Those are the things that you have to think about when talking about building a house and where your costs are going to be at, okay? So for the very first thing I want you to think about is when you come to us and say, hey, builder, I want you to build a home for me, we start thinking about value engineering. What is value engineering? Value engineering is the 3-sided rule, even dimensions to reduce waste, a roof pitch. So with that, the 3-sided rule, what I really mean by that is you want to build a very efficient box, right? a very efficient box. Oh, there's only 3 sides to this box. But what I'm saying is that you want to build a very square house, right? In the reason it's 3-sided is because your one side is your front side. Make sure your front side of your house is really pretty and really beautiful, but make sure the other sides of your house, the 2 sides in the back, are squares, right? Do not have a lot of protrusions. Do not have a lot of bay windows, right? Do not have a lot of angles in them. Angles in roof lines and angles in foundations cost money, right? So when we talk about how to save money in your house, you save money in your house during the architectural design process, right? While you're designing that home with your architectural designer, right? Or an architect, but there's a difference between an architectural designer and an architect. But we can talk about that later if somebody asked a question in the chat session, okay? But I'm not going to unless somebody asks the question. But there's a difference between an architectural designer. Okay. So, but right now we're talking about value engineering a house. And what this line up here says, did you know that once your home is designed, 80% of the cost of your house is already determined. Once you figured out that my house is going to look like this and it's going to have a roof like that, 80% of the cost of your house is already figured out just in the design. I want to welcome the folks who've come in recently. What we're doing, we're talking about cost per square foot, and we're talking about this document that we created about fair and square, and right here, understanding the cost per square foot of your home. So we're talking about that. And we're talking about how calling up builders and asking them, hey, what's your average cost per square foot? That's not a legitimate question. It's a legitimate question. It's a question that doesn't have an easy answer unless you understand the answer, okay? So with that, though, I'm talking about value engineering a home, the 3-sided rule. Even dimensions reduce waste. What do I mean by that? If you were to design a house, right, if this was your house, you would never design a house that's 69 feet wide, 69 feet wide, 59 feet wide, 49 feet wide, 39 feet wide. You would never design a house that had an odd dimension across the back of it, right? You would always go to 40 feet, 50 feet, 60 feet, 62 feet, 64. You always design in even dimensions across your house. And why is that? Because if you think about it, you design in even dimensions. If you think about it, drywall, OSB are sold in 4x8 sheets. Trusses are 2 foot on center across the roof of your house, right? So if you design a house that's 59 feet wide, I actually got to buy 60 foot of product, right? Because again, sheets of drywall are 4x8 sheets, right? I'm buying all my product in even dimensions. Your trusses are going on your house in 2 foot increments. So if your house is 59 feet wide, I got to buy 60 feet of trusses. I got to buy 60 feet of drywall. I got to buy 60 feet of siding. So when we're thinking about value engineering houses, right, and that's the section that we're on up here, we're going to buy in even dimensions of designing our houses in even dimensions. And then the last thing, right, on here, the last thing on this section right here, right, if you can read that says roof, R-O-O-F. To me, that's a roof, but depending on where you're from, it's a roof. To me, it's a roof. All right. Why do we care about the pitch of a roof, right? Because pitches of roofs matter. All right, both of these houses. All right, these houses, right? I want you to compare this house to this house, right? The roof pitch. This is a very shallow roof pitch. This is a 6-12 pitch, 6-12 pitch. This is a 10-12 pitch right here. It's a much steeper roof. The steeper your roof is, so this is a 6-12 pitch right here. This is a 6-12 pitch. That's a 10-12. That's a 12-12. The steeper your roof pitch, right? The steeper your roof pitch, your roofer can't walk up a 12-12 pitch roof. They can walk up the pitch of a roof that's a 6-12 pitch. And so if they can't walk up the pitch, they've got to use ladder jacks or roof jacks, right? They're going to charge you more because it's going to be more labor for them. It's also more material, right? The steeper the pitch of your roof, the more material that it's going to take. So when we're talking about value engineering, the steeper the pitch of your roof, the more expensive your roof pitch is, right? And also I would tell you, this is a gable on a roof. This gable, it looks like a triangle right there. That's a gable. That is the least expensive roof. If you get into hip roofs, right? Hip roofs, they're going to be more expensive, right? And stuff. So again, when we're thinking about saving money on a cost per square foot or comparing houses on a cost per square foot, we got to think about value engineering. We got to think about that. And so the reason that you're here to talk to me is because you're interested, I'm assuming, in building a house someday. Well, in the building of the house, I want you to think about those three things. I want you to think about value engineering. And then within value engineering, I want you to think about the three-sided rule, even dimensions, 60 feet, not 59 feet. And I want you to think about the pitch of your roof, right? Those are three things that can help you. And the reason that you want to think about those things, again, is once you got the design of your house, it's going to have these walls and it's going to have this roof. You've decided 80% of the cost of your house, right? That's a pretty big number. You can't go backwards from that very easily, okay? And not only that, it happens to me often where people will come to me and they bring a plan from another builder, right? And they say, hey, my budget's $400,000 and this plan is $600,000. I just had a meeting this morning exactly of that. $400,000, the plan that they had drawn up and the plan they had priced by another builder, $700,000. I don't want you to be that person. I want you to have control over the price of your house and the design of your house, right? That's what we've got to get you to. That's what we're hoping for in this seminar, right? Is to help you understand what's going into a house so that when you're designing a house and building a house, you know where your money is at, right? So back to my handy dandy little flyer, fair and square, cost per square foot. Right now, we've talked about this section up here, and keep in mind, you've got two different houses here. By the way, our website is heartlandbuilders.com, right? Heartlandbuilders.com, right? And there's my wife, Cindy. If you have a question, you can reach out to Cindy. There's our phone number, 2055430. Talk to Cindy about that, right? But I'm not here to talk to you about Heartland Builders. I'm talking to you here to talk about cost per square foot. But the reason I bring that up is because these plans are actually on our website, right? So you can go there and reference them on our website for a little help in understanding these houses. And you could go there right now, right? So, but this is the Comstock plan. This is the Harrison plan. We put the two of them side by side in comparing cost per square foot. Why did we do that? This is a ranch. This is a two-story. A two-story home, right, is always going to be less expensive on a cost per square foot than a ranch. Why is that? Because on a two-story home, you're going up mostly, right? Whereas on a ranch, you're going out. You see how this house is wider than this house is? So that what that means is that this house has more foundation. This house has more trusses. This house has more floor joists. This house has more shingles, right? Keep on the roofing theme. Right? So a ranch is always more expensive on a cost per square foot basis. Most of the time, it's more expensive on a cost per than what a two-story is, right? So on a two-story, again, I've got less foundation, less trusses, less everything else. So pound for pound, if you're not finishing the lower level, a two-story is going to be less expensive on a cost per square foot than what a ranch is. Okay, so let's look at this, right? I'll just tell you right now, the base price of this Harrison, cost per square foot, $125. The base price of this Comstock, cost per square foot, $132. So the base prices of these homes are $7 difference. $7 less expensive on a cost per square foot basis for this home than it is for this home. Okay, so let's talk about these two plans, right? A little bit more. Right? Number one, I got the Harrison plan. Number one, I got the Harrison plan. And by the way, I haven't seen anybody put a chat down there and ask me any questions. So either I'm fantastic or you guys are sleeping. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask questions down there and I will stop, right? I will stop and answer anything you have, even if it's a different topic, okay? But anyway, number one is site evaluations. So site evaluations. I don't care how much a house, I don't care how much the lot cost. I don't care how much the site cost. I can't really help my clients with that. There's realtors that help with that. You can find how much land costs. That's not really a consideration that I am concerned about, right? I don't want my clients to overpay, but I'm not in the marketplace of buying and selling land. I'm in the marketplace to evaluate land, right? And that's what we call site evaluations, site improvement cost. What goes into that? Is it a well? Is it a septic system? How much is the well? How much is the septic? Is it city sewer and water? How long is your driveway? Is your driveway 50 feet or is your driveway 2,000 feet? And then what's the cost of those driveways? Do you have lots of trees on your property? These are trees, by the way. Do you have lots of trees on your property or you just have no trees on your property? Because I've gone out and looked at sites before where we've got to spend $10,000 to clear trees. I've been out to sites before where there's no trees. Right? So site evaluation is very important. And I will tell you right now, and normally I say this to the end of my presentation, but the most important piece of advice that I can give you is right here. The most important piece of advice that I can give you: buy a piece of land before you buy it, right? Always have a builder come out and evaluate the cost of that land for site improvement costs, right? Again, length of driveway, number of trees, cost of well and septic, all that before you buy it. I want you to buy your opportunity, not somebody else's problem. Okay. So site evaluations, we got to come out there before you buy that land and help you determine what the cost is to improve that land, what the site evaluation costs are. Okay. The second thing down in through here, did you know that personal selections comprise on average of 20% of the final home cost of your house? Did you know that you can affect that by only about 4 to 8%? What I really mean by that is, let's go down in through here. Okay. Comparing two houses on a cost per square foot basis. Number one, I told you the Harrison came in at $125 on a cost per square foot basis. $125 on a cost per square foot basis. The Comstock came in at $132 on a cost per square foot basis, right? Comparing these two houses, we actually compared them on individual pieces of land as well. The Harrison cost $27. The piece of land that we built this home on to improve that land was $27 on a cost per square foot basis. On the Comstock, it was double what it. Selections were $1 a square foot, and so the Comstock were $27 a square foot. See, so we've got two different houses that have completely different cost per square foot. So if I do the math, I'm at we've got a calculator here, don't worry. We're at 125, we're at 27, we're at $20 on a cost per square foot basis. I'm at $172 on a cost per square foot basis on this house right here. On this other one, I'm at 132, I'm at 14, I'm at 27. I'm at $173 on a cost per square foot basis on this one. So if you compare these two houses, they are completely different houses, two completely different lots, but they are the exact same cost per square foot. Well, one's 172 and one's 173. They're $1 on a cost per square foot basis. So if somebody calls me up and goes, hey, what's your average cost per square foot? Well, I could say $172, $173, but every lot is different. I need to take out, the 20 some dollars for site improvement costs, because I don't know what your land is and I haven't been out to your land. So calling a builder out and go, hey, what's your average cost per square foot? It's just not a valid number, right? It's just not a valid number, and we don't know what that's going to be. So let's get down here. All right, down at the bottom, if you can see that, right, you see that number that says 69, and next door to it, you see that number that says 70. And the word right next to that over here is structure. The structure on these houses were about 70% of the total cost of the house. The structure is 70% of the total cost of the house. So when you do that, right, and the structure is the exterior, right, the shell, the siding, the 2x4s or 2x6s, the shingles, whatever, that the windows that you get to look out, right, that brick, that stone, that little closed vent in the gable there, all of that type of stuff is in the structure. That's 70% of the total cost of your house. So with that, I will tell you that once you've been through the architectural design process, you've determined 70% of the total cost of your house just in the structure, right? If I go back to this one, these are more expensive houses. These are about 60%. So 60%. So 60 to 70% of the total cost of your house is just in the design. You haven't even picked out a granite countertop. You haven't even picked out a tile shower. You haven't picked out a faucet or carpet or a laminate countertop. You haven't picked out any of that. 60 to 70% of your total cost of your house is already determined because of the structure, right? So go back to what I said before when I was talking about up here about value engineering your plan and the three-sided rule and the even dimensions to reduce waste and the roof. You want to think about value engineering your plan because you're going to spend 60 to 70% of the total cost of your house just on what it looks like on the outside. So let's make sure we're not wasting money in the architectural design process, right? Let's make sure you get to have that tile shower if that's what you want, or that granite countertop, or whatever that is. Let's just think about how the two of those things go together, all right? So you're structuring these two, okay? Down here is site. Just so you see that word that says site, right? Site is 15% of the total cost of your house. So what do I mean by that? That's the site improvement cost. Again, because if you remember, I don't get involved in the cost of your lot. I get involved in the cost to improve your lots, right? The cost to improve the site. So site improvement cost in this case are about 15% of the total cost of your house. So what I just said to you is 70% up here was the structure. 15% is in your site improvement cost. So 85% of the cost of your house are figured out in what the site is, the site improvement cost, as well as the architectural design, the structure of your house. 85% of the cost of your house is figured out. But wait a minute, let's think about that. 85% of the cost of your house is figured out, and you haven't even picked out a countertop. 85% of the cost of your house is already figured out, and you haven't picked out a light. So when people come to us, right, and they come to us and they show us pictures from Pinterest, and they show us pictures from Houzz, and they aren't showing us pictures of roofs. They aren't showing us pictures of foundations. They're showing us pictures of cabinetry, of bathrooms, of pretty lights, right? Because those are the things we feel good about. Those are the things that excite us, right? But that's only 15% of the total cost of your house, right? 85% of the cost of your house is in the structure as well as the site improvement costs, right? So in your site improvement costs, when you're going out to look at land, and if you remember, if you were with me earlier, I said to you, never buy a piece of land without having a builder come out and look at that land before you buy it, right? Because I want to help you evaluate the cost of that site, the cost improvements of that site before you buy it. Because let's figure it out. Because the less money you spend on trees, the more money you get to spend on tile. The less money you spend on length of your driveway, the more you get to spend on flooring. So, let's just talk about what's important to you, right? But you might be out in the country and you might want a 5,000-foot driveway. Actually, that's a mile's 5,280 feet, actually. But if you want a 2,000-foot driveway, 1,000 driveway, we can talk about those things, right? Because that might be what's most important to you, right? And if money is something that is an object, and you have to be conscious with your money, you're going to trade money between driveway and countertop, right? But if you say, no, I don't care about my driveway, I want a pretty countertop, these are the things that we need to think about, right? So what I've said to you, right, is structure is 70%, site evaluation, site improvement, right? I am now at 85%. The final 15% is what you get to do in personal selections with your home. It's not that pretty light because that's just kind of a blinding light as it seems like right now, right? Okay, so that's what that's in, is 15% of the cost of that, okay? So when people come to us and they say, I want to save money, right? They'll say to us, I'm going to choose granite countertops and not quartz countertops because it's less money. I'm going to choose a laminate countertop, not a quartz countertop, because it's less money. It's true. All those things are less money. but you're talking about saving $5,000 or $10,000. If you need to save $30,000, if you need to save $50,000, you actually need to go after the structure. You might not be able to have a square foot house. You might have to have an 1,800 square foot house, right? So we want to evaluate those costs. We want to understand what it is that goes into the cost of your home in order to evaluate what the right home is for you. And by the way, in your personal selection, right? In your personal selections, which are in one house 14%, right? In the other house 16%, right? Let's see if you need that. Of that 15% that your personal selections make up, you're only going to be able to save about 4 to 5% of the total cost of that house by changing your selections, by going from a different type of floor to going to a different type of countertop to going to a different type of light. You're only going to save cabinets. You're only going to save 4 to 5% of the total cost of your house by your selections. And the reason that is because, again, some people come to us and say, well, I'll just choose a lesser expensive countertop. I'll just choose lesser expensive cabinets. Those are all great things. And I want you to do those things, because if you don't value paying a higher cost, then don't pay a higher cost, right? But you're only going to save 4 to 5% of the total cost of your house by changing your selections. And the reason that is because even though you go from a lesser expensive cabinet or from a more expensive cabinet to a lesser expensive cabinet, you still got to have cabinets. You still got to have flooring. You still got to have lights, right? You still got to have carpet, right? You still got to have a toilet. That's flushing, by the way. All right, you got to have all of those things, right? And so you can only save incrementally so much because you still got to have those things. So again, when we're talking about understanding cost per square foot, again, if I go back to it, people call us up. Happens to us every week. Someone will call us up. The very first thing that they'll say is, I'll say, hi, good afternoon, Heartland Builders. This is Rich. May I help you? And they'll say, hey, Rich, I want to talk to you about building a house. Could you tell me what your average cost per square foot? Now, I don't hang up on them like that, because that's not nice. But what I do is I have a conversation with them about cost per square foot and wanting to find out, hey, what do you really want to build? Do you want to build an 1,800 square foot house, a 1,500 square foot house? Do you want a 2,000 square foot house? Do you want a 2-story? Do you want a ranch? Let's talk about those things. Do you already own your land? Let's talk about those things just to make sure we're having a conversation that is helpful to both of us. Me understanding what it is that you want, and then me being able to help you understand what it is that you need, and being able to determine, what is the right cost for your house and where that's at, right? So again, it's a noble question, right? There's just not an easy answer to that. And I will also tell you is that, some builders are going to, if you called up a builder and go, hey, what's your average cost per square foot? They're going to give you a number that doesn't include all these site improvement costs, right? Where the next builder may put their site improvement costs in there, right? So it's really not an easy way to evaluate builders and evaluate how much it is that you're going to be able to spend on your home, right? So again, please feel free, if you have any questions, to put some questions down in there for me, and I'd be happy to answer them for you. So these were some more expensive homes that we did, right? This was a $600,000 house. This was a $500-something thousand house. The numbers of the percentages were pretty much the same. They tracked pretty much the same, right? In through there. So as the lesser expensive homes, a little bit of differences through them, because also, but also because the land was completely different as well, right? Land was completely different as well. So there was just some changes with that. So that is what we put together to help people understand the cost per square foot question, right? So that's what I wanted to answer or go through that with you from a presentation standpoint. I've been on this for 35 minutes. I think these are 5 minutes long or something like that. Again, please feel free to ask some questions. But if you don't mind, if you're thinking about building a home, I'm also going to go through a little bit for a couple of minutes of the presentation I gave yesterday on how to select your builder, right? How to select your builder. I think you should choose one who's 5'10", slightly balding, actually a lot balding, wears glasses, has a beard, and works at 2900 East Beltline. But if you didn't choose me, I would understand that as well. And most people don't choose me because there's about 1,000 homes built in Kent County every year, and I only build 12 of them, right? And so this is not a presentation about Heartland Builders. This is not a presentation about Rich Kogelshots, but I do want you to have a positive experience. And so I do want to help you select your builder, right? And by the way, builder, it could also be remodeler, because these are the same if you're remodeling a home as well, okay? How to select your builder. You select your builder. This is really important because this confuses a lot of people, right? It surprises a lot of people. You select your builder based on philosophy, not based on price. Select a builder is based on philosophy, not based on price. What do I mean by that? But Rich, I don't have a philosophy. I just want a dang house built. I don't have a philosophy. Well, what I would tell you is if you go out and you meet with 3 builders, by the time you're done meeting with builders, you're going to have a philosophy. And actually, I would tell you, you do have a philosophy right now. Someone just hasn't helped you bring that out, perhaps, right? You do have a philosophy. You know where you want to come home. You know what house you want your bedroom to be when you lay your head on that pillow, right? You know how you want your kitchen to be laid out. You have a philosophy about how you want to live in your house. Someone needs to help draw those questions out for you. So the number one way you select a builder is by philosophy, not based on price. Also, what I mean by that is if you want a really cheap house, go find a builder who builds in a cornfield and builds really inexpensive houses, right? Cheap's not a fair word. That's not a right word. If you want an inexpensive house and you want to build a house based on a budget, right? Go find a builder who builds inside that budget. So you should be calling up builders and going, hey, what's the average prices of your houses? I've been on your website. What are the average prices of your houses? Because I can tell you, we build houses at $300,000 and I build houses at $900,000, $1 million, $1.5 million, right? But we build in certain price ranges as well. So you want to call builders up and talk to builders about what price range, because there are some builders who can't build in a price range that's different than what they typically build in, right? For lots of reasons for that. But also philosophy, if you want a home that's energy efficient, go talk to a builder who builds energy efficient homes, right? If you want a builder who focuses, if you need a home that is barrier free, go talk to builders who build barrier free houses. But go talk to builders who build in a philosophy that you appreciate and that you want for your home. So the number one way you choose your builder is based on philosophy, not based on price. Okay? For that. The second thing that you should do, right? The second thing that you should do in how to select your builder is go review the builder's website. I want you to go on that builder's website and I want you to tear it up. I want you going on to every page. I want you taking notes, right? I want you taking notes. I want you writing things down, taking notes. Because what I want you to do is after you've taken notes, when you go meet that builder, you call that builder up, I want you to ask them questions about their website. Not about pictures on their website, although maybe not, maybe. I want you to ask them about what they said on their website. Hey, you said you had an architectural designer. Hey, you said you have an interior designer on staff. Tell me about that, right? Whatever kind of they say on their website, I want you asking questions about that, right? Because it makes sense. I want you validating it, and I want you to hear from them. But also reviewing the builder's website, most builders have a gallery of homes, right? They want to show you their pretty pictures, right? We take pictures of every one of our home. We hire a photographer for every home we build. We put those pictures on our website. I want you to go on our website or a builder's website and look at those pictures, right? And then when you call them up, go, I really like the Wilton plan on your website. How much is that going to cost? And are those features included in that price? I just want you reviewing the builder's website, right? The third thing that you are going to do, you're going to go see the builder's work. I want you to go see that builder's work, right? And when you go to that house, now, number one, there's a parade of home in the spring, the parade of homes. There's also a fall parade of homes. So there's 2 times that you can go evaluate builders and go actually into their houses that they've built and look at those homes and evaluate them, right? But what if it's not during the parade, right? Then I want you to call the builder up and goes, hey, I want you to take me through one of your houses, right? We'll be happy to take you through one of our houses. Show me what you have under construction. But when you go see that work, I want you to have a critical eye, right? I want you to be opening up drawers, right? I want you to be looking at where the wall and the roof come to, where the wall and the ceiling come together. And I want you to look at that paint line and see that that paint line is smooth and clean. I want you opening up doors, right? I want you opening up doors and closing them and pushing the lock on the knob and making sure all that work and all that stuff fits. So I just want you to go through there and look at the fit and finish of that house. The other thing I want you doing, though, quite honestly, is I want you to ask the builder, when you're walking through that house, I want you walking through that house and going, hey, builder, is this what my door is going to look like, right? Am I going to have a 2-panel door right at the top? In my trim, is my trim going to look like this as well? Is this the same trim that I'm going to get? And how about that base trim down there? How about that base trim down there? That's a door that's going into my son's house, actually, that little wood panel door. But there's base trim next to it. Is that what my trim's going to look like in my house? You know, and is that what the paint line? We go, you aren't going to have a drop ceiling because you're not going to be in an office. You might have a drop ceiling if you were in the basement. But anyway, I want you going through and I want you talking to that builder. Right. And so as you're going through that house, you're asking, again, various questions about what things are going to be like. Right. You're going to be opening up doors and drawers. And I can tell you right now, if you open up a door and drawer, you're going to look at that right there and go, ooh, dovetail drawers. Ooh, I really like that. And then you're going to push it close and it's going to be a soft close hinge. And you're going to go, ooh, I like soft close hinges too, because that's what everybody does when they come into our houses. And that's a fair thing to do. But you also want to ask, are these what the cabinets are going to be in my house? Right? Fair question to ask. So I want you to go see the builder's work, right? Talk to the builder about what's going on in their house. I hope you enjoyed that field trip, by the way. If you did enjoy that field trip, I want to see a thumbs up, right? You got to give me your thumbs up, or you got to say, hey, for the field trip. All right. The next thing, I want you to ask the builder how they manage the process. I want to ask the builder, let me get that light out of here, maybe. I want you to ask the builder how they manage the process. What's that mean? The architectural design process, right? In order to build a house, you have to have a blueprint. Design build firm, meaning we design 95% of the houses that we build, right? 5% of our clients actually come with a plan off of the internet or from some other source, you know, or something like that. Mind that, we don't care about that. Happy to build whatever. We're custom builders, but 95% of the houses that we build, we design, right? So you want to talk to that builder and say, hey, builder, do you have an architectural designer on staff? Because again, there's a difference between architect and architectural design. You have someone on staff who draws plans, right? Then not only that, once you've got the plan figured out, hey, who's going to help me make selections? Who's going to help me pick out that carpet? Who's going to help me pick my house? Again, at Heartland Builders, and a lot of builders have interior designers. They have selections coordinators, but you want to ask those questions, right? So again, the point is ask the builder how they're going to manage the process, right? And do they have an architectural designer on staff? Do they have an interior designer on staff? All very important questions, because your commitment to this process is in the architectural design phase as well as the interior design phase, right? That's where you're going to make that deal. That's where you're going to have your best experience or your worst experience in the building process, potentially, is in those phases right through there, okay? Not only that, hey, builder dude, how many times are we going to meet on site? How often am I going to see you on my job site? We have 5 meetings with our clients at Heartland Builders. That's 5 meetings. Number 1, the site. We always meet out at the site before we break ground on the house, because it's your land. It's not my land. I got to make sure I put that house in the right spot for you. And when we think about it, I want you putting that house where you want the best views at, right? I want the best views out the back of my house. So then let's put the house right here, because that's going to take advantage of that river, that lake, or that tree, whatever it is that you want to see, right, out the back of that. So 5 meetings, that was the first one. The second meeting, we are going to meet on site after the house is framed. 2x4s, these are 2x4s or 2x6s. Those are already up, right? Roof is on. We're going to meet out the site. Plumbing, heating, and electrical have not started yet. We're going to meet and we're going to walk through that house. We're going to walk through that house. And we are going to, I was going to probably pull up a building permit or a blueprint. We're going to walk through that house and go room by room around that house, making sure that we know every room, what's going to go in every room. We've talked about it a number of times with you, but now the house is framed. So let's go through it again. Now let's go through it for the first time now that it's framed together. And we go into every room and we say there's going to be an outlet there, and there's going to be an outlet there, and there's going to be a light there, and the switch is going to be right here. Right. And so we talk about what's going on in every room, right? If we're in the living room, hey, there's going to be a 4 plug right here because the fireplace is right there and the TV is going to go right there. Let's talk about those things. Okay. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. With that. So that's our second meeting on site. Our third meeting on site, right? Our third meeting on site is with our trim carpenter, right? Because we want to go now the drywall's up, right? Now that the drywall is up, the house is completely changed in its feel, right? It's actually gotten bigger. It feels like it's gotten bigger when the drywall goes up, right? Let's walk through the house again with the trim carpenter, talk about the cabinetry, talk about the hardware placement. Hey, the handrail is going to be stained, right? Or is it going to be painted? Are you going to have lockers over here? Because the plan shows lockers, right? And this is what they're going to look like. Let's talk about them, right? We talk about, hey, here's where your towel bars are going to be at in the bathrooms, right? We just want to talk about those things, right? Because it's kind of the launch of the finished phase of your house. All right. And then about 2 weeks before you move in, we're going to have our our fourth meeting on site. I am not a math major. We're going to have our fourth meeting on site about 2 weeks before you move in. And that's kind of a punch list meeting. We just literally walk around the inside of the house together, the outside of the house. We just kind of go around the house together to make sure that, hey, we're all on board with it's 2 weeks out. This is the shape and condition of the house, right? What's really cool about that meeting, though, too, is we actually go into the mechanical room and we talk about how your house operates. We're going to show you how that operates. We're going to show you how to change the filter on your humidifier. We're going to show you your ERV, right? And the filter on your energy recovery ventilator. We're going to we label things. All of your valves and shutoffs will all be labeled so you know what they are as well. We're going to walk around the mechanical room and show you how your house operates. Super cool. And then, so that fourth meeting. Then we have 5, the fifth meeting. The fifth meeting is the day that you move in. Whoop, whoop, whoop. It's a celebration, right? We're going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony. We're going to put some ribbon on your front door, and you're going to take 10 times to try to cut it because our scissors aren't very sharp and they're not very good, but they're really big and attractive looking, right? But our fifth meeting is the handoff. You get to take possession of this house. And what's important about that is that handoff needs to be professional. That house needs to be done. It needs to be done when you move in. Right? So there can't be a bunch of knobs that are missing. Hey, this door's still stuck. That stuff can't happen. When you move in and you take possession of that house, it needs to be finished for your benefit because that's what you paid me to do. You paid me to build you a house. You didn't pay me to give you problems. So that house has got to be ready and it's got to be finished and so that you get to move in. So we give you the keys to your house. We give you your garage door openers, right? And then we get to leave and you get to stay living there. Right. And that is awesome. And that's why you built a house. Congratulations. It's now yours. Right. So when you're selecting your builder, you want to talk about how to manage the process, with that. How's the builder going to manage your money? So we're 49 minutes into this thing and I still got some people sticking with me. So I'm going to keep talking until I'm done with how to select your builder. Okay. How to select your builder. By the way, the 2 people might be my mother and my mother-in-law. I'm not really sure. But if one of you are my mom, hi, Mom. I hope you're doing well. Okay. So the thing is, we're on how to select your builder, right? Oh, how to select your builder is how are they going to manage your money? How are they going to manage your money during this process, right? And that's sworn statements. That's deposits that are given to you. That is sworn statements. And a sworn statement is the document that we use to go to the bank in order to draw money from the bank. In order to get your money out of your bank, we have to send them a document called a sworn statement. All that sworn statement does, it lists all the vendors that are going to be working in your house and how much we're going to pay them, right? And every month we go to the bank and draw money. What's great about that with us is we're going to show you every month where you're at financially in your home. So every time we submit something to the bank, you get a copy of that. So you always are going to know. You want to talk to your builder, right? When you're interviewing builders, hey, builder, how are you going to manage my money? Tell me about the sworn statement. What does that process look like? And then the other thing, and probably the most important thing, are change orders, right? Change orders. Right? I want you asking a builder about how they manage the change order process. Here's what best practice looks like. Best practice looks like Bill and Mary go to builder and say, hey, builder, I want to change something in my house, right? I want to change something in my house. I want to add a handrail. I want to add a different door. I want to add a window. I'd like to add lockers in the mudroom. Best practice is that when you go to builder and say, builder, I want to do this, builder tells you what the cost of that is before he does anything, assuming it's a he. In my case, builder tells you exactly how much that's going to cost before they implement that work. So best practice is you say to builder, I want something done. Builder tells you how much it costs. You approve it in writing. Change orders are always in writing. Not, hey, builder, would you mind just kind of doing this for me? And the builder says yes. And then at the end of the process, you get a bill. Because I've had this happen. I've had people come up to me at home shows and things like that, or call me up about experiences they had with builders, where all of a sudden they get this invoice at the end of a project that they didn't realize was coming in. That should never happen. Any change order should be in writing, and you should have that change order in advance of the work being done, right? There's only a couple of exceptions to that. Sometimes somebody will ask us to do something where we go, I have no idea how long it's going to take. I have no idea, because this is crazy. I got to do this and I got to do that and I got to put this here and I got to put there. I've never done it before. I don't know. It could be 2 hours, could be 5 hours. I'm not really sure what it's going to be. There can be a little bit of leeway in that, but very rarely. I mean, 98% of change orders should be in writing with a dollar amount in advance of actually implementing that change order, right? All the time, 100% of the time. So again, why am I talking about this? Is because this is how to select your builder or how to select your remodeler. Change orders should always be given to you with a dollar amount in advance of that work being implemented. I want you to talk to builders about that. I want you to talk to remodelers about that, right? This is where professionalism comes into play, right? And this is where I'm being honest and straightforward and everybody's above board. Because I will just say this, your builder might not be mischievous, might not be less than fair. But what's going to happen is if you come to me and we just started your house and you said, hey, go ahead and do this and tell me what the cost is when we're done. I'm never going to remember 4 months ago what it was. You're never going to remember 4 months ago what it was. So let's put everything in writing with a dollar amount when we do it so that everybody's on the same page and there's no misunderstanding, right? There's no misunderstanding when you do it that way. So again, how do you manage your money? You're going to ask builders how you manage money. The next thing you're going to do is you're always going to use a member of the Home Builders Association. Go to GGR, HBA, or excuse me, HBA, GGR, Grand Rapids Home Builders Association, or whatever community that you're in. You're going to be asking builders in that community or that association to build your home. You know, the reason I like the Home Builders Association, I was president of the HBA of Grand Rapids in 2009 and 2010. I was Home Builders Association president for the state of Michigan in 2014. It costs very little to be a member of an association that gives you educational knowledge, that gives you networking knowledge. You know, I've met some of the best people and some of the best trades through the Home Builders Association. Birds of a feather flock together, right? That's where you find good people, is through the Home Builders Association. And then the very last thing, I've given you 10 reasons about how to select a builder. The very last thing, let's see if it shows up, is the feel-good reason, right? The feel-good reason on who you like, right? Who you trust. That's how you're going to select your builder. The 10th reason as to how you're going to select your builder. But you're not going to get to the 10th reason about, oh, I like you. You're not going to go, oh, I like you, so I'm going to hire you, until you've gone through the first 9 reasons that are intellectual. I want you to use your brain. I want you to use your head when selecting your builder. 9 different ways. And on the 10th way that you select your builder is based on, right, who you love and trust. That's how you chose your dentist. That's how you chose your doctor. That's how you chose your banker. Hopefully it's how you chose your spouse or your significant other, right? You chose them based on who you like and trust. And those things are all great and wonderful and fair, but I want you to go through the evaluation intellectually before you let your heart decide who it is that you're going to choose to build your home. So that's how to select your builder, right? And I only have 2 more things that I want to say. Maybe 3, and that looks like 4. But number 1, I told you, you never buy a lot without having a builder come out and look at that lot before you buy that lot, right? Number 1. Number 2, the second best piece of advice that I can give you, Make all of your selections before you break ground. Before you break ground on your house, you picked out your carpeting, you picked out your lights, you picked out your paint colors, you picked out your doors, you picked out your trim, right? You picked all of those things out before you broken ground on that house, right? That way, the reason is you're going to know how much your house is going to cost before you break ground. I have so many builder friends who do not require their clients to make all their selections before they break ground. And we get together and we cry. That's what my builder friends cry about. But I don't cry, because at Heartland Builders, we require our clients to make all their selections before they break ground. And that's the second most important thing that I can tell you to do. And again, I want you to know how much your house is going to cost before you break ground. That's how you find out, right? That's important to you financially and emotionally, right? The third piece of advice that I can give you: always hire a builder who works with an interior designer who's going to help you make selections for your home. Your selections process is emotionally not draining, because that's not fair, because it's supposed to be fun. But your emotions are tied up into whether it's blue or whether it's pink or whether it's green or whether it's yellow. I want you to have a professional to help you have the confidence in making selections for your home. You're spending all this time, your life savings on this beautiful home. Let's make sure you've got a professional there to help you that. And I tell people, our interior designer who's on our staff, she's part of the process. You don't pay extra for her. She's there to help you manage your money, not there to help you spend your money, right? So always somebody who's an interior designer on staff is really important from my standpoint. I think it's your biggest commitment. Fourth most important thing: hire a builder who actually draws plans, right? Who actually draws the plans. They're a design build firm, right? That way, when you're going through the design process, you're there helping each other stay on track financially with what the overall cost of the house is going to be, right? I think it's really critical. I meet with people 3 or 4, again, who bring a blueprint to me and go, "Hey, builder dude, my budget is $400,000. My budget is $500,000. Their house back, right? We've gone through the evaluation process, and the cost of their house is $600,000, $700,000. They just paid $2,000. I had a client who we ended up building a house where they paid $25,000 for their blueprints. They couldn't afford the blueprint when they were done. That $25,000 went into the garbage. They spent 25 grand on a plan that they could not afford. I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to have a better experience than that. Pick a builder who's a design build firm, right? Who can help you draw your plans. And with that, I don't have any more to say. I actually do. I could just keep going on forever, and you probably believe that. But the reality is that this is not about me. It's not about you. And if I don't see anything down in the chat box, then I think that my time is done, and you probably want my time to be done. So thank you for coming to visit. I just want to say thank you to ShowSpan. ShowSpan does a marvelous job. The remodeling and new home show, or is the new home and remodeling show, is a wonderful show. 2019 and all the years before were great, and I'm sure that 2022 that will be back, and it's going to be better than ever. So I want to thank ShowSpan for all the work that they do, not only in putting shows together for the public, but also they do a great job for the Home Builders Association as well. So thank you to them. Thank you for you to participating. And if you have any questions, I want you to go to our website, right? I want you to go to our website, heartlandbuilders.com, or call 205-5430. And you don't have to build with us. Just call us up and ask us questions about building. I'll be happy to answer them. My name is Rich, and I hope you have a great afternoon and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you.